All right, welcome to the Good Food Project. I'm Mary and this is Megan. So we're going to be making 3-bean veggie tacos today. So we got some whole grain tortillas, which Megan's going to open, and we're going to put it into the oven to soften them while we make the rest of the recipe. Fun. We use whole wheat products, and one of the other options you can do is if you don't feel like making a taco, you can also just put the whole recipe over some brown rice.
Like a burrito bowl.
And make a burrito bowl. These are one of our WIC products, and so you can get whole grain options on your WIC card, which can either be bread, tortillas, brown rice, oatmeal, or pasta. So these are a great option instead of just getting always the bread.
And we're just going to leave the tortillas in the oven at a very low temperature. They're at 150, just so they can heat up a little bit while we're making the rest of the meal.
Another option is you can also just microwave them at the end, just for 30 seconds, put them in the microwave, and it will also soften them as well. So we chopped some onions and peppers, and we put them in a saute pan with some olive oil. You can either get fresh or frozen. Today we are using fresh. One of the nice things is you can get the frozen vegetables and just put the cover on top, and it will actually just cook them a little bit faster and get that heat going if you'd like to purchase frozen instead. One of the nice things that is on WIC is you have a fruit and vegetable cash value, and so that's something you can get fresh, frozen, or canned. So today we're going to use fresh. We also are using we're also using the Goya beans today, and we're using just black, pinto, and the kidney beans. What we did is we just took off the tops and put them in a strainer and rinsed them in the sink. It just gets rid of some of that extra sodium that are in the cans so that it's not too high in sodium.
So our peppers and onions are sauteing here. They're just getting a little bit soft. You don't need to cook them too much, and then we're just going to add the beans right to it so those can cook up as well. And you can also use the dried beans if you want for this recipe, the ones that you get in the big bags, and you just have to soak them before you cook them. So those are also a great option for this.
We're going to do the beans, but if you prefer to have meat in it, just swap out half your beans for chicken, beef, anything like that. And you can definitely put meat into the recipe if you prefer to do that.
And we're using the beans because it's a little bit of a cheaper option than the meat, and it's a little bit of a cleaner protein. It's a plant-based protein, so it's a different source.
And we also are going to use some corn into this recipe, make it a little bit more colorful. Corn's also one of those vegetables that are very easy to get frozen. And you can definitely keep them in your freezer for as long as you want and just kind of take them out when you're ready to do a recipe like this.
This one is the canned corn, and we also rinsed it off a little bit.
All right. And then we got some toppings for once they're done, in which case we have some lettuce, as well as we're going to do some yogurt instead of sour cream today. So the yogurt's a really nice option because it still gives you that sour cream texture, a little bit of that creamy taste, but definitely significantly less fat than the sour cream that we tend to use.
And then I'm going to add the seasoning. So we have ground cumin. And you can add as little or as much of this as you like. Sometimes if you're cooking for kids, you might not want to add too much spice. You can kind of gauge it on your own. And then we also have the chili powder.
If you want to have more spice into it, you can add some red chili flakes as well as more chili powder, depending on how spicy you like it.
Or cayenne pepper.
Cayenne pepper, yeah.
And then I'm just going to also do a tiny bit of salt and pepper just for a little bit more flavor as well. And adding your own seasonings is a great option as opposed to the packet seasonings because you're going to get a lot less salt, and you can control how much you put on.
Alright, and I think we have a little bit of cheese, cilantro, and then a little bit of lime juice left in this recipe to add.
We're actually going to melt the cheese in.
This is also something you can get through your WIC benefits. It's a 16-ounce package. And you can get the shredded cheese, you can get American cheese slices, the mozzarella sticks. Today we're using the shredded cheddar cheese that we just got from the supermarket.
So So this is a very quick meal. It's probably from start to finish about 20 minutes. All we really did ahead of time was chop up the peppers and onions and shred the lettuce and kind of measure everything out. So if you're making this at home, it's a really, really quick, good weeknight meal. Good alternative to going out to eat and paying for food. That's probably not going to be as healthy. And we're also going to squeeze in a little bit of lime juice to give it a little bit more flavor. From half a lime.
Use those muscles.
I know, right?
One thing we did also get is we got some avocados to put into our tortillas as well. But we're going to cut those fresh for you guys just because they have a tendency to brown. If you do want to cut them ahead of time, adding that lime juice will keep it from browning. So you can just squeeze some of that lime juice on top of the avocados.
Alright, so I'm just going to move some of this, then I'm going to take the tortillas out of the oven. Okay, so we're going to wait for an oven mitt, and then we'll take those out of the oven. And then you talked about the yogurt, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you could also use corn tortillas for this recipe. That's also another WIC item if you didn't want to use the whole wheat.
All right. It looks like we have some avocado.
Great. And I can slice up this avocado.
So to slice the avocado, we're just going to slice it right down the middle, twist it apart, and take out the center.
So we'll leave that for the end. And then I'll start plating these up so everybody can see what they look like.
You can definitely make your own toppings and set them aside. You can do lettuce, tomato, things like that.
And the yogurt acts as almost like a sour cream. And you use the plain. And the toppings, you can do whatever you like. Fresh tomatoes would be great. You can make a fresh salsa, or even hot peppers if you like spicy, but that is the finished product.
And you can just roll and eat.
And just roll it in meat. And if you wanted to bulk it up a little bit more, you could add brown rice and it would be a great burrito. Or like Mary said earlier, you can just eat it on its own or eat it with brown rice. Mix and match any vegetables that you like. It's a very versatile recipe. Okay?
Yeah.
That's it.